This past September, my grandfather passed away at 74 of COPD. After struggling for the majority of his adult life, and especially within the last 7 years, he's finally at peace. What started out as a couple of harmless cigarettes at age 9 turned into an addiction that single-handedly destroyed his life. While I'd like to remember the person he was before he became ill, and forget his illness altogether, it was a great opportunity to shine a light on this disease and how it affects my generation. Before I get into that, I'd like to show you who my grandfather was. My grandfather's name is Lischka, but me and my family call him Papa. Papa grew up on a farm in Saskatchewan with a huge family that was very close-knit. In the 70s, he moved to Toronto to marry my grandmother and start a family. Family was the most important thing to Papa, along with his friends. He was the silliest and happiest person I knew, to the point that it was irritating at times, but nonetheless lighthearted. He had a few hobbies that he was great at: photography, gardening, which was his favorite. But as his illness progressed, he slowly lost the energy to do things he loved. He was still goofy and joked around and tried his best to keep up with me, but his attacks became more frequent and aggressive. You can tell here by these photos that I took. I must have been 9 at the time, that although he fronted he was okay, he couldn't escape his disease. In the 90s, Papa was diagnosed with emphysema. What is emphysema, you might ask? For the most part, it's a highly preventable lung disease. Scientifically though, it's a chronic lung disease that leads to the atrophy of the lungs. When smoke or debris enters the lungs, it slowly kills off the small air sacs called alveoli. Once the alveoli have been killed off, they cannot be salvaged, so your lung capacity starts to shrink. Papa's lung capacity was down to 3%, and he was able to survive on that for a surprising amount of time. But that's no way to live. The endemic of vaping is prominent among my generation. Vaping is marketed as safer than smoking, but in most cases, it contains high levels of nicotine than cigarettes. People are reaping the effects of COPD a lot earlier due to vaping. I always hear people my age saying, "Oh well, I'll deal with the consequences when I'm older," but what they fail to realize is that they not only ruin their lives, they ruin their family's lives as well. Watching a loved one suffer for a long time had a tolling effect on my family, especially my grandma. Visiting their home is not the same anymore, and the cliche of triggering memories whenever you see a deceased relative's things around holds true. It's going to be a long journey of recovery, but I'm so lucky to have known Papa.
Guitar and just moaning shit. He's cool, but Lord knows you